All right, good morning. Again, this is John Edward Miranda, your instructor for IT01. And we are now going to be discussing chapter 3, which is computer hardware. So last time we discussed software. So we already know that software are actually the intangible part of the computer. And we also discussed the different types. Today we are going to discuss one part of the computer system, which is considered to be the hardware. Okay. So we will only be focusing on hardware here, but on the start of the slide, I am showing you the parts of the computer. So you have your hardware, your software, your data, and then user. Okay. So these are just additional information for you, and it's good to know. Okay. So again, we have here the difference between hardware and software. We don't need to dwell with this because we already discussed this last time. And of course, we have your data and then your user here. So data are pieces of information. So anything that you are actually downloading over the internet, anything that you are putting on your computer is considered to be data. And of course, user, that's the user. We are the user of the computer and users. Okay. And we also have here the IPO cycle. So when we talk about the IPO cycle, this is just basically you input, process, output, and then storage. Okay. So before, the definition of a computer is actually an IPO machine. So anything that can be input, process, and then output is considered to be a computer. Okay. There's a reason why calculators are also considered to be computers because they have the ability to input, process, and then output information. Okay. So as you can see here, we will be discussing them once we progress with our lesson. So we have the essential computer hardware here. So as you can see, there are many different components here. We have your memory, we have your processor, we have your output, we also have your input devices. Okay, so we will get to understand them one by one. So processing devices, these are the brain of the computer. So if the operating system is the heart of the computer, then the brain of the computer is actually the processing devices. And the most commonly known as the brain of the computer is called the CPU. So that's central processing unit or the CPU processor. Okay, that's the brain of the computer. Now, please don't get confused with the CPU as the system unit because the entire box that you see is called the system unit. So inside the system unit, there are many different components that you can see there. So it's not called a CPU. So you don't have to address that as a CPU because the CPU is a central processing unit. Okay, it's not called CPU at all. It's called system system unit. Okay, and we also have here the memory devices. So when we talk about memory devices, there are only three things that we need to understand here. We have the RAM and then the ROM. So RAM stands for random access memory, and ROM stands for read only memory. So when we talk about RAM, these are just temporary storage. Okay, that means that if you turn off your computer, all of the things that are being stored on the RAM will be wiped out. It will be erased automatically. Okay, so examples of these are called your cache. So that's called cache. It's CACHE. We get to understand these by actually checking our smartphones because all of these applications that we're storing has the capability to store cache. And these are temporary files that are being stored if you are going to use a certain application. So these temporary files are being stored in a temporary memory location, and that is called the random access memory or the RAM. Okay. So read-only memory, this is a permanent storage. So examples of this are your internal hard drive. So we have if you are going to store your pictures or videos, it will be stored in a read-only memory. So or the ROM. Okay, because if even if you turn off your computer, if you turn it on, all of those data that you have stored in your ROM or in your ROM will not be deleted because it's a permanent storage. Okay, so that's just basically the difference between RAM and then ROM. You also have your input and your output devices. So input devices, these are things that are capable of putting something inside a computer. So examples are your keyboard, your mouse, what else? Your microphones, your cameras. These are considered to be input devices because they are feeding the computer information. And we also have output devices which delivers data. So examples of output device, we have your monitor, your printer, your speaker. Okay. And there are also some other devices which can be considered as an input and output at the same time. Your smartphones are considered to be as an input and output device because at the same time you get to input something and then you get to view things. So touch screens, that includes your smartphones. And computer data. Um, these are fact with no meaning on its own, stored using the binary numbering system. Data can be organized into files. Okay, so we also have computer users here, but it is role dependent as it is stated here. We get to set up the system, we get to install softwares, we get to manage files, we get to maintain the system. All in all, there are many roles that are being based when it comes to the user. So there are database administrators, there are system administrators, there are users, there are editors, and many other more. Okay, and that's the end for the hardware. Okay, so again, thank you for watching my video. We will be discussing chapter 4 next meeting. Have a great day.
For more ICCT College's video updates, please subscribe and click the notification button.